But people worry about, if we have an AI that's crucial to society, maybe it's, a judge on the Supreme Court, maybe there's an AI that's a leading doctor at a hospital, or an AI that's working in this profession, that profession, whatever it may be. If they have some kind of intrinsic bias, it doesn't even have to be politically biased. It could be, just one direction or the other for something that is on a fine line. That could potentially be bad for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. It could also direct society in one direction and take away freedom of choice for a group of people. Is there any concern, AI having that, built into it by humans? Obviously, humans are fallible. We are not perfect. We just discussed that. What's the level of concern there as we develop out a more better, robust version of a language model?
So 100% worried about it. Risk level is high. And I think not for the reasons that people think. Bad actors are going to do bad things. People that, want to alienate whatever communities for whatever reason, right? Unfortunately, can do that. You know, Conversely, people that want to increase accessibility can also tap into AI to do that. But the bigger fear is the implicit bias. Those things that we don't actually consciously understand that are actually factored into this. And that's what concerns me and a lot of people the most because we don't even understand how that factors into our decision making. I hate to pick on the Red Cross. They owned up to this, but it was a few years ago, pre-pandemic. They released a safety poster, put on all these public pools, that kind of stuff, and it was a little cartoonish, but they're trying to show kids like good behavior, bad behavior at pools to hopefully incentivize people to do the kids good behavior. I'm sure this went through a lot of reviews, all this kind of stuff, but the bottom line is they released that poster, got published, and they got lambasted very quickly in a couple of days because they're like, people came back and said, why is it that all the good behaviors in the poster are done by white children and all the bad behaviors are done by children of color? And to the credit, the Red Cross looked like, oh my God, we totally didn't see that. They pulled it, they tried to correct it. Don't know why it happened, but that's something that may be subtle, maybe not, that was out there, right? And that's the challenge that we have is that we may not be trying to do something intentionally, but we can teach AI some of these bad things. And so that's why we're really worried about this. Like the court system, if you're talking about like here's all the precedents about the cases and the sentencing when they're found guilty, forget about making the actual judgment, right? We've seen things like where, I can't remember the schools anymore, but there were two college football players, both accused of date rape. They were both ultimately found guilty and convicted. But there was one guy, I think it was in Louisiana, 10 years prison time, right? Both the same kind of stuff. It said, boom. Other guy was over in the, Bay Area of California and 6 months of probation. It's like yeah, if you just raw gave this to the AI, it's going, okay, same profiles, very similar profiles, very similar cases. What's the difference between the two people then? Well, one guy was white and one guy was African American. And so you're gonna without proper training and diversity of people doing the training and different perspectives, the AI is going to pick up on some of these things. If it appears often enough, we're going to transfer these implicit bias into the machine. And that's what really concerns me the most. On the flip side, if we're conscious about this, we can try to mitigate it. We can't eliminate full bias, but the HUD in the U.S., the Office of Housing and Urban Development, is really now trying to push more AI tools into mortgage applications, particularly the analysis and approval process, because what they found is the AI is actually less biased than humans.